Welcome back. Joining me now is Republican Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina. Senator Graham, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Let's start by talking about this meeting this upcoming Friday between President Trump and President Putin. President Putin saying he is demanding that he gets to keep some of that territory that he's illegally claimed without making any concessions. Senator Graham, is it a mistake to reward President Putin with a presidential level meeting without Moscow making any concrete or public concessions?
No, I'm very okay with President Trump meeting with President Putin in Alaska. So I was on the phone this morning, Christian, with our European allies, with the Ukrainians. I talked to Yermak this morning. The vice president was on the ground in Europe yesterday, listening to Ukraine and our European allies about what a good deal would look like. And the reviews about J.D. Vance are very, very positive all across the board. Everybody said that J.D. listened well. He understood sort of the red lines. And I think everybody knows that how this war ends can be a good thing or a bad thing. If it ends in a way, it looks like that Putin's overly rewarded, there goes Taiwan. You can't end a war without talking. I do hope that Zelensky can be part of the process. I'll leave that up to the White House, but I have every confidence in the world that the president is going to go to meet Putin from a position of strength, that he's going to look out for Europe and Ukrainian needs to end this war honorably, and it's time to end this war honorably. But how we do it will be historical, and I'm confident President Trump will get a good deal for all.
So, Senator Graham, you take me to my next question. Let's talk about the red lines and what a good deal would look like.
Yeah.
Let's look at the map right now, Senator, there. This is a map of Ukraine. You can see the areas in red currently under Russian control. Now, President Trump this week didn't rule out Ukraine having to give up some of its territory, something the Ukrainians have rejected. Do you believe that Ukraine should sign a deal that includes giving up any part of their territory, Senator?
Well, think about East Berlin and West Berlin as a way a conflict can be settled, at least for a period of time. North Korea and South Korea is in a state of truce. There's never been a final settlement. But I come on your show a good bit. I want to be honest with you. Ukraine's not going to evict every Russian, and Russia's not going to Kyiv. So there'll be some land swaps at the end. But what would a good deal look like? Make sure that 2022 doesn't happen again. On Biden's watch and Obama's watch, Russia invades. The goal for me, and I think President Trump, is to end it forever. Now, what would that look like? You'll have some land swaps, but only after you have security guarantees to Ukraine to prevent Russia from doing this again. You need to tell Putin what happens if he does it a third time. Pre-invasion sanctions that would crush his economy if he ever did this again. In 2022, we didn't help Ukraine at all. Biden didn't. Militarily, we need to keep Ukraine strong, keep flowing them strong and modern weapons, and security guarantees with European forces on the ground as tripwires to prevent a third invasion. We want to end this with a sovereign, independent, self-governing Ukraine, and a situation where Putin cannot do this the third time without being crushed. This is really a dress rehearsal for Taiwan, and as do China. We had a good talk. I played golf with the president yesterday. Saturday was the 10-day deadline. China is very much on his mind. He can tell you the top 5 oil purchasers of Ukrainian oil. He knows who they are. And if this doesn't end well with Putin, everybody buying Russian oil and keeping his war machine going in Russia, you're going to pay a heavy price like India.
All right. Well, and I hear you saying what's happened under Biden's watch, but the attacks have only ramped up by Russia against Ukraine in recent weeks on President Trump's watch. But, Senator, let me just read you something that you said back in 2023 as we talk about these potential land swaps that you're discussing. This was during your visit to Ukraine. You said, quote, You don't end wars by giving territory to the aggressor. If Putin is not stopped here, he will keep going. And that increases the chances that there will be a war between Russia and NATO. Senator, if Russia is allowed to annex some of those regions, won't that effectively be a green light for Russia to go into and invade other countries?
What will stop a third war is to do things differently than we did in 2022, is to keep arming Ukraine so that Russia will be deterred by the most lethal army on the continent of Europe right now, which is Ukraine. Security guarantees that if you come into Ukraine again, you'll be fighting more than just Ukraine. Having some European forces on the ground as tripwires, building up economic integration. The one thing that changed everything, in my view, is the minerals deal between us and Ukraine changed the relationship between the United States and Ukraine, and President Trump will defend those interests. East Berlin and West Berlin existed divided for a very long time. It wound up not being the case. So there's de facto recognition and de jure recognition. I'm not trying to tell you or anybody else that I think Ukraine can evict every Russian soldier. I am here to tell you that President Trump will end this war in a way to prevent a third invasion and not to entice China to take Taiwan. We're not out to humiliate Putin. We're out to get a deal to make sure there's no third invasion.
Senator, I have to ask you about the sanctions bill that has the backing of, frankly, more than 80 other senators. You have been putting
85.
off. Okay, there you go. You've been putting off bringing it to the floor for more than 4 months now. If this summit does not produce a ceasefire agreement, will you commit to bringing that bill to the floor?
I talked to the president about the bill. I think it will help him in court. His tariff policy is being challenged in court. If Congress creates a tariff regime, giving the president authority to set tariffs to go after people who buy Putin's oil, I think he's got a stronger hand legally. But he's doing everything the bill does. He put a 50% tariff on India for their buying Russian oil. He talked to me a lot about China. He talked to me about 2 other countries that buy Russian oil. So he's doing it through executive action, and I'm okay with that. But I stand ready to help the president. And when we get back in September, let's have this conversation.
Senator, I need to get to Gaza, but why punish India more than Russia?
More than Russia?
Shouldn't he be sanctioning Russia?
Well, the one thing I can tell you, Putin could give a damn about sanctions. He evades them. He could give a damn about how many Russians die. The one thing that he can't tolerate and live with if we go after his customers. The whole goal is to crush his customers, India and China and Brazil, that if you keep buying Putin's oil and prop up his war machine, you will be denied access to our economy. This is a new strategy. Trump is all in terms of going after Putin's customers if we can't end this well. Without oil and gas revenue, Russia collapses.
Senator, I have to ask you about another issue that you are very focused on, the war in Gaza. We have 1 minute left. Israel announcing its plan this week to take over Gaza City. World leaders have called the move a dangerous escalation, Senator. How long do you see Gaza being occupied, and quite frankly, who should control it after?
This is Israel's World War II. I can't believe we're having a discussion about how to fight a war against people who want to destroy you as a people, the Israeli people. So they will take Gaza militarily unless the hostages are released. Eventually, the Arabs will take over. The future of Palestine runs through Riyadh. The future of the Mideast runs through Riyadh. I envision, after the defeat of Hamas, that normalization will be back on the table between Saudi Arabia and Israel, and the Palestinians will benefit from that discussion, as well as the Israelis. Enough already. Destroy Hamas. Do to Hamas what we did to the Germans and the Japanese during World War II. Annihilate them and rebuild the Palestinian society like we did with Germany and Japan. I think we can do that.
Well, I know everyone is calling for those hostages to be released. We'll watch it closely in the coming days. Senator Lindsey Graham, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.